Okay, I think we have concluded everything but concludes everything but executive session. So unless I missed some, we did a lot of jumping around today. Did I miss anything? Everything's here.
She had to go home. We postponed. Well,
We had to bump that one out. So yes, for the public, we had an item that was going to be an update on. Let me read it correctly.
You want her to do it now? She's back.
Oh, I thought we were okay.
But does it need more time?
Director Thronson, what's your preference? Would you rather postpone or do it now? Do we need more time than we have currently? What's the best opportunity here to?
Jennifer Thronson, Director of Teaching and Learning. It's really up to you as a board. This is a preview of the meeting we'll host with legislators, the media, our coaches, our panel in a couple weeks from now. And as a respect to you, we wanted to kind of preview some of that content. We have some student data to share. Some of it's very exciting. And we'd love for you guys to be first, but if you are okay with not being first, then we can delay.
let's hear it. I'd forgotten this was a preview for something that's already locked in. So we are short on time, but it's important. It's a big project. What? If you could just keep it to 2 hours, because Molly's got to hit the road.
I talk fast, so we'll do this.
No, you're okay.
This is important. Yeah, maybe some high points, but I think it's a good opportunity for us.
Okay. How do I connect, or should we just let someone else show who has power? Okay. Thank you.
Was that me or was it you?
It's all you.
It was me?
Yeah, they're talking about you.
They're not talking about me.
They're not.
What is they talking about?
All right, my partner in crime is not here, as I did say, go ahead and head home. So Sarah Whipke would have also joined. She's our P12 literacy coordinator and has been really leading a lot of this work. And as I get started, the data that you will see here was thanks to David McKee and Stephanie Sue up in data and statistics. They kind of proceeded with getting it done faster than we normally do to be able to share with you for that August 17th meeting. So just wanted to throw recognition their way. And this is basically a highlight of some of the things that have happened since implementation of SB 127 that passed in March of 2022, and kind of this first year of implementation and some of the success and challenges that we've had to share with you. It's an abbreviated version of what we'll share on the 17th. The 17th is a 2-hour meeting. This is meant to be a 15-minute presentation. So here we go. All right, so the goal of SB 127, and really just as a educator, is to achieve at least 70% of our third grade students reading on grade level by July 1, 2027. So we have 5 years to get to this goal. And in a moment, you'll see where we are versus where we need to be, and the urgency that we would love to have more students reading, as this is really a civil right that we want our kids to have. So reading on grade level, this is the past few years and by grade level. So the orange bars are grades 1 through 3 collectively, and then it goes 1, 2, 3 across the way, and the last 3 years. So this is the percentage that we're trying to get to 70. Currently, we're at 48% of students reading on grade level by the end of third grade. So just kind of, we have a ways to go. We were at 44 2 years ago, so we're going up about 2% a year. We need to accelerate this if we're going to make it to 70 mathematically in the next 4 years that we have left. Kindergarten is our success story. I think a lot of this goes to the professional learning that our teachers have received and the efforts they have made to change their practice from taking letters and starting early. You all know early intervention matters. And so the last 4 years data is up there. The asterisks are for COVID. So we only had middle of year data. So when you look at the end of year, everything else is end of year in purple, but that kindergarten 2019, 2020 is middle of year because we did not assess. So just wanted to clarify there. We grew the most we've ever seen in the 12 years we've been doing this by 17% of students being at benchmark with 74%. We have never hit that mark in the history of doing dibbles and Acadians in over a dozen years. So super exciting. Yay. Over that means 7,931 more kids are where they should be headed into first grade than where they came to us at the beginning of the year. So almost 8,000 kids are in a much better place. And that really goes to our kindergarten teachers. They have worked extremely hard to change that outcome. And that means we have a bunch of kids going into first grade way more ready than they have been. And that has led our LEAs to taking their first grade teachers in to see the kindergartners because they're so much more advanced. Our first grade teachers have to change how they start the year. It's super exciting. We were down in Washington County and those kindergartners are doing things that first grade teachers went in and said, my kids used to be able to write that way in March, and they're doing this in May in kindergarten. So there's been some great advancement in what our kids can do. So look forward to this particular cohort of kids. I think we'll be able to see their progress over time in the future. So that, if nothing else, was the reason to get this presentation. All right, next up is first grade. Not as bright of a story. Definitely is still a place to grow, but we are coming back from COVID. So we are at 62% at the end of the year that are achieving benchmark. But our highest has been 65 back in the COVID years before the end. But you saw we took a big dip in right after COVID for that first grade and continue to kind of be working our way. Second grade, this is the first year we have not gone backwards with the percentage of students at benchmark. So again, a celebration. If you came in ready, we kept you ready. And that is progress because we have never not lost a percent of kids each year historically in second grade. So thank you, second grade teachers, for stopping that. And hopefully we can now move it into positive territory. Third grade students, one of our highest years, 71% of students are achieving benchmark. So that is positive improvement as well. I think what you'll see over the years, now that we have this strong kindergarten group coming in, first grade's going to continue, and you'll start to see these trends move up, which will be the goal of all this work that our teachers are doing and our leaders. This is the typical or better progress. So not only do we measure did they meet benchmark, but are they making progress, expected progress? Nationally, the kind of gold standard is 63% of students make typical or better progress. So that's kind of, at least we want to hit that mark. You can see the last couple of years, we were well below that for kindergarten. This is the first year that we're kind of back to pre-COVID levels of the percent of students making progress towards obtaining proficiency. First grade, also above that 60% or 63% threshold at 64, but wasn't our best year in terms of those students making progress towards their goals. Second grade, though, we did start to see that progress. And so you can imagine if the kid was behind, it takes a little bit of time to make that catch up, but to see 70% of kids making typical or better progress means we're closing the gap for those students. And then third grade continues to accelerate. They're at their highest progress ever, with 72% of students making typical or better progress in the years that we've had Pathways of Progress, which is about 5 years now. So some great highlights. Again, the kindergarten story is our best. You received this in your email yesterday. It's in board backup. We do a quarterly brief on the progress of this initiative every quarter. And so yesterday we released the most current edition. And so you'll have that available to read. It just tells you all the things that we have completed in the last few months, such as some of the things we'll cover today. And then at lunchtime, there were some videos playing. We have a Read to Succeed Utah channel that we went out this spring and videoed our teachers and leaders and district administrators around how are they having impact and changing outcomes for kids. These are success stories across our community. We just loaded one the other day about Westmore Elementary in Alpine. They had 88% of their kindergartners meet benchmark, and that school is 60% low income, 40% English language learner, including a refugee population. They rocked it. So if you want to see a school in action, it was terrific. So they are a celebration story that we just finished filming, and Jerry completed the video on that one. All right, so if you want to watch some inspiring videos, they're short. Most of them are 3 to 5 minutes. We tried to keep them sweet so that people would watch them. Next up are the 4 key areas of the bill. So you have seen us come to you over and over every month. You're like, another SB 127. Yes, there are numerous projects in this. So there's 4 kind of key areas: instructional support, things we do in the classroom; professional learning, things we do for our educators; system supports, things we do at the systems level; and then educator preparation. What are the supports we're providing there? So specifically, those are all the projects in each of those buckets. This is why you see us so often. There's 3 projects in instructional supports, there's 7 projects in professional learning, there's 5 in system supports, and there's 5 in educator prep. We will see you very often because many of these require your acknowledgement, your influence and approval. So you will continue to see our team coming to you. We are not going to hit all of these today. We will hit all of these
By the way,
in
the
the
2
August
minutes
17th meeting. Board Member Reel, you might want to mute. I hope it was a positive comment. And here we go. So this is the list. I'm going to only speak to the ones in yellow just for the sake of your time and to kind of encourage. I think we have a couple spots left that Kelsey sent out. If you want to come to the 17th, you'll get the details on all of the pieces here. But for the sake of your benefit, I tried to focus the work today. So we will start into instructional supports on the evidence-informed and based curriculum that is required. So as part of SB 127, our LEAs have to adopt evidence-based and evidence-informed curriculum to support their below and well below students. And so we've been giving some time. We've been reviewing a lot of curriculum to see if it aligns with the science of reading. On the right side are all the resources we have created in the last year related to curriculum. We have a checklist for core curriculum. We have a checklist for software. We have the curriculum list that aligns to the science of reading, that meets the law that our LEAs have really asked for. We have what are the critical features when you're offering intervention for literacy, as well as curricular guidance based on the many laws around curriculum at this time. So if you're interested, those are all hyperlinked in the presentation, and you can check any of those out. Next up is letters. We have had over 10,000 educators engaged in this professional learning over the last few years, and we had 6,300 plus complete all 8 modules, which is about 150 hours of professional learning. That's an intense amount of time for our educators, and they have been nothing but great and really working hard to complete. We have 4,000 that are in progress. You can see their data, just like we do for kids. We have pre-assessments for these adults, as well as their post-assessment on terms of their progress. So volume 1 is phonemic awareness and phonics and some of those really foundational early skills. You'll see 62% of our teachers had the kind of this average score of not quite knowing. Like we had a big percentage in the red, a little in the yellow, and a teeny bit that were proficient. And this was one of the reasons we asked for this legislation to have professional learning. Our teachers had told us through a survey that they didn't feel comfortable teaching the foundational skills. And you'll see that data tells that story really well. But by the end of letters, you can see the green is the teachers that passed the mastery level of that assessment. And then volume 2, our data showed that teachers felt more comfortable teaching vocabulary and comprehension. And so you'll see that comfort level led to a bigger green piece of the puzzle, but still a lot of teachers that could grow and develop their skills. And now we have 95% who are passing at that mastery level at the end of their unit 2. We don't have everyone through volume 2 yet, so we're still have that 4,000 teachers still going, but that is great progress. And now they have the knowledge to be able to do it. Now it's applying it in the classroom. And that's where we'll be moving this coming year, is really focusing on implementation of what they've learned. On the bottom there are pictures of the graduations that many of the LEAs held for their teachers to say thank you for the time and effort and just to celebrate their accomplishments. Next is the change management for leaders. This is actually a contract with MGT, which you discussed a different contract with earlier today in Ed Direction. Our leaders are required to go through change management for literacy training. It's a required element of the bill. And so we had 70 leaders sign up for the first cohort, and they really appreciated the content they got. The feedback was extremely positive, as you'll read up there. 98% strongly or agreed that they followed the professional learning standards. They were high quality adult learning experiences. 94% agreed, or 99.4 agreed that what we offered met the criteria that we said, here's what we're offering. We're still in the middle of that cohort. They're basically taking time to look at their master schedules. Do you have enough time built in to address literacy? How are you addressing tier 2 and tier 3 when students need additional intensity in their instruction? So it's been a great opportunity. Our leaders are excited. And we've also been called out in a reading reform piece by the Shanker Institute as an example of capacity building for leadership. I've linked that article in the notes if you're interested in reading it. It is a piece that talks about what do states need to do in reading reform to change the outcomes for kids. And we were actually highlighting that article for what we're doing here with the change management. And there's an infographic of some more of the success of that first cohort if you're interested. That's hyperlinked on that one. Next, not only do we want to go help the ones that maybe are struggling, we want to identify those high performers. So as a team, one of the pieces in the bill is to incentivize those that are doing well. And the way that we identify to incentivize is to award a Science of Reading Excellence Award. So you can see the little circles they're all holding. If you want to see one up close and personal, Sarah has one in her office. Lee Gray, our graphic artist, designed them. They turned out beautifully. And we went out and recognized 13 educators who met criteria that we have set and that are having impact on students in terms of their reading achievement. Some of them were district leaders, some of them were classroom teachers, principals. One of our state literacy coaches, Harmony Langford, over at Guadalupe. Guadalupe has been in school improvement for literacy for 4 years in a row. With Harmony's help, they got out of it for the first time ever since it's been in its inception. So coaching works. Harmony is evidence of that. And so it was a great opportunity. A lot of the schools through assemblies had all the kids and teachers come to announce these awards. They were really, the families were hiding behind the curtain and they would come out when the teacher was announced. They were great events. If you're interested, as we go and do some more of these this coming year, we'd be happy to have any of you join us to celebrate these educators who are having impact and taking what they've learned and really applying it in their classrooms. Next up are our state literacy coaches. So we have had this past year 17 coaches. This next year, we were able to fully hire all of our coaches. So we have 32 state literacy coaches moving forward. We did a survey with those that had a state literacy coach this year with their educators, and 93% of those teachers reported that they were satisfied with the support of their coach. We had an 8% increase in terms of the number or the percentage of students achieving benchmark at the end of the year from the beginning. And that was 245 more kids that were reading that at that benchmark level than those prior when they started the school year. So progress is being made in student achievement in those schools. And then 9 out of the 10 teachers that took the survey agreed that coaches are a valuable use of taxpayer money. And there is a coaching infographic with more fun details if you're interested, hyperlink there at the bottom. And that is a picture of our coaches that started the year last year. But like I said, we have 32 coaches starting this year, and we'll be in, I've got to cut to my notes because I can't remember how many schools, 33 coaches that will be in 34 schools and 12 LEAs next year with our coaches. So they just all started this past week, and they are a powerhouse of really knowledgeable reading folks that I think will continue to help these schools that need to advance their literacy practices do so. This is the Foundations of Reading Assessment. So it is required by state law that teachers take the Foundations of Reading Assessment in order to earn their professional license if they are being licensed in elementary, special education, or preschool. At this time, it is just take the test. In one more year after this coming year, it is you have to take the test and pass the cut score. We are getting data from these first couple of years to determine what that cut score should be. But right now, across the country, somewhere between 233 and 240 is the typical cut score. So if we were to set this cut score right now at 240, this is the percentage of students in the preparation programs that would be passing. I'll give you a moment to read those percentages. So if you look at the third column over percentage of cut score, I'll just start with the top one. Utah Valley University, 57% of their candidates would pass the are passing the assessment and would be eligible to earn a professional license. And then you can kind of move down to see where your local universities might be. It is something we'll continue to work with them on. They are looking at their own data internally and looking for ways to improve. Some of it is it's not the teachers know they just need to take it. So the universities have mentioned that maybe they're not taking it seriously because they just have to take it. They don't have to have a certain score. Where, for example, Southern Utah University said, oh no, you have to get X score or we will not recommend you for professional licensure. And you'll see they're at 73%. So there might be some just willingness to put their effort into the assessment. So we'll see some changes at the universities, I expect this year, to make sure that data is accurate. But they do get very specific feedback on what areas their teachers that they're preparing are struggling so they can improve their programs. So we've been doing, this was the first year of getting this data. Next year will be the second year. It's really meant to help the programs improve. And the third year, the teachers are now accountable. And if they can't pass the assessment, they are not allowed to earn a professional license until they pass it. And the universities are required to continue to support them in passing that assessment for up to 3 attempts. And then we have hired all of the science of reading faculty. So we were looking for 6, what the university deans would call unicorns of science of reading experts across the country. And we've finally found 6 different lovely individuals. Some were already here, some were out-of-state hires. But ultimately, these are your new 6 science of reading faculty that will be added to these 6 universities to help advance their science of reading practice, to support their faculty, to support educators. For example, these folks can go out and support first-year teachers. So typically, that's not been something higher education has had the resources to do. But these folks could now go out and say, you graduated from us. Let's go help you as a first-year teacher and provide service. There's a lot of different ways that these faculty be used in their communities, but we were successful. It looked a little dim in January, but now it is a bright spot in our space. And then something to note, Utah is standing out also in that Schenker report. They listed all 50 states and who had comprehensive legislation addressing these 4 components: teacher preparation, professional development, curriculum, and principal leadership, which were all things that I highlighted for you today. We are one of 10 states that have comprehensive legislation, according to this report. It is a big project, hence why you get so many updates from us on this one. So if you're interested in all of those pieces I didn't speak to today, we will be having a 2-hour overview on August 17th at the Capitol. You're welcome to join us. It's really an opportunity to share with Senator Milner, who was the sponsor, Representative Last, who's no longer a representative. He'll also be there, and some others from the legislature, the board, and our community, the Science of Reading panel. Especially, they were like, we want to know what's happening. So this is our way of kind of showcasing what's happening. In that presentation, we'll also talk about next steps. So this is kind of a year in reflection. In that presentation, we'll do a year in reflection with what to look forward to in the coming year too. So with that, if you have any questions, I know it's a late night, so feel free to save those and we can chat, or I'd be happy to take those.
Questions or comments? That was definitely worth sticking around for. That's some beautiful news. So thank you. I'm glad we heard that. Member Bogus. You got it. Whatever comes behind the creepy smile, go for it.
So very simple. When you do these presentations, and maybe a simple request to all the staff, if you could send us like an Outlook calendar invitation, then like sometimes I can put it on there, and then if I can make it, but then it's always there in the background. And I think this is like our 2nd or 3rd day of school, but if I can make it, I would like to. And if that just comes through, then I'm not constantly juggling paperwork. I don't know if that's something that the staff here would be willing to do. I don't know. It's just a thought.
Member Reel and then Member Lear.
Yeah, I just wanted to apologize for my speaker coming unmuted. My girlfriend decided to listen what we're talking about at 10:25 p.m. and I was in the middle of saying that woman is a total badass, and that was my comment. So I appreciate all of your comments, appreciate all of your work, and I'm sorry for interrupting what you were saying.
Thank you, Member Reel. Member.
Oh, her dad wouldn't care. Mom would. Oh, that does.
Member Lear.
I don't know if you can't answer this quickly, then say talk to me later. But WGU, I noticed the huge number. So we're clearly training teachers that are going to be all over the country. And so how does that follow-up that you were talking about even work with WGU?
You'll tell me to slow down.
Okay, quickly, or should I come back to you? Okay.
Mike. I'm sorry, we need a
You're
mic.
good. So for WGU, we actually met with them. They released over 200 staff in the last couple of weeks at
Oh.
WGU. So they have a major restructuring happening going on. And we also expressed to them great concern because they're like, well, we're going to work on our program, but any of you who know higher education, working on your program takes 2 years to go through the process. And I said, we can't wait 2 years. You're already only at 49% of teachers being at grade level. So they have inserted 9 of their faculty into our letters for higher education faculty that we run to at least start advancing their knowledge and deepening their expertise. And then they are partnering with our science of reading higher education specialists to start looking at their program and making quicker moves. If you saw the NCTQ report that came out on their alignment to the science of reading, our 5 IHEs got A's and A pluses. And we had one get a C, that was Weber, and WGU got an F. So there is some major room for improvement. And like you said, a lot of those teachers don't ever teach in Utah, but they are going to be, we do pay for their assessment, and they are not performing at standard. And so WGU took it seriously, and we said this will be something we'll be watching, and we may have to recommend to you at some point to dismiss WGU from being a teacher preparation program in these areas in Utah if this doesn't change soon. So they understand the urgency and are concerned. It's a large end size, so 250 of those teachers are not really ready to teach reading when they enter the classroom. So we had a serious discussion about a week ago.
Last question.
I just don't have internet, and I'm wondering if anybody else's internet is down.
Internet's down?
Yeah, I just can't access
Shuts off at
anything
10:30?
into the next session.
So, well, I think we've got executive session left, so this might be a good time to move for that and then try to resolve our internet connections while we're going into executive. Maybe. Director Thomson, thank you again. Wonderful presentation and update.
That's right.